Hello and welcome to the FIFA Premier League preview with Daniel Frost and me, Sam Turner. Well, everyone is on holiday this week for the international break, but not everyone is relaxing by the pool. England are travelling to Basel to face Switzerland in the first match of their campaign to qualify for Euro 2016. After a mournful performance against Norway, England have a lot to prove, and Dan and I have 3 weeks of football to catch up on. The transfer market has shut its door, well, the window, and there's already been plenty of shock in the domestic league. So let's crack on and see the team who will be trying to take 3 points from the 3 Lions.
Yes, and that team is Switzerland. Now, I'm in charge of this, so please forgive any pronunciation mistakes that I'm making. In goal, I've gone for Jan Sommer. In defence, I've gone for Stefan Lichtsteiner, Fabian Schär, Johan Giroud, and Ricardo Rodriguez. In midfield, I've got Gökhan Inler, the captain, Valam Barami, Granit Xhaka, and Djedan Chachiri. And then up front, Admir Mehmedi and Josip Dremic.
Classic stuff from Dan there. In my team, I've gone with exactly the starting 11 that started against Norway. So we've got Hart in goal, Stones, Jones, the rhyming duo, Cahill and Baines. We've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, Henderson, Wilshere and Sterling in the midfield with Rooney, the captain, and Sturridge up front. And I'm playing the diamond formation. So I think Hodgson's going to switch it up for this one. So we've got a diamond in the middle. Back of the net, it's the FIFA Premier League preview, or really the Euro 2016 preview.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. We've kind of used the international break to have a little catch-up because if you watch any of the previous shows, you know that Dan was on his hollybobs. Did you have a good time?
Indeed. I did have a very good time. Lots of sun, lots of sea, sand and drinking and food.
How many clouds did you see?
Over the 10 days, I counted and I saw a grand total of 3 solitary clouds.
On the same day? Or
No, they were spread across different days, but over the course of the entire 10 days, I saw 3.
All right, I see. Well, fair enough. So here we are again. We kind of bulk recorded the last FIFA Premier League preview. So in the second half of this game, we're going to have a catch-up of what happened in the league. But it's probably just to have a little look at what's going on with the England team these days, which is pretty much exactly what happened. Well, nothing's changed from the World Cup, really. Did you watch the Norway game?
I watched some of it.
All right.
I wasn't, let's say, taken with it.
Did you watch the Bake Off?
I wasn't watching Bake Off either. No, I was actually working on the InRetroSpect podcast website, so I was busy working rather than gallivanting around watching football.
All right, well, fair enough. By all accounts, it was awful. However,
so, yeah.
I've decided to go with the same team that Hodgson played, but I'm playing the diamond formation. He played 2 flat banks of 4. I've got a bit more flexibility and movement in the squad.
I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to stick with his 2 flat banks.
Because Switzerland, I don't think Switzerland are a team that should be taken lightly.
Absolutely.
Because, hello. Ooh. I mean, the last match they played was against Argentina in the World Cup, which they only narrowly lost in extra time.
Exactly. It was only a goal in extra time from, was it Di Maria, I think it was?
Yes. I mean, they managed to get out of their group. They're above England in the FIFA standings. Oh, hang on. Baines on the overlap. Oh, that's a bit of a weak cross. So, I think if you look at the other teams that are joining England in the Euro Group E, is it? Estonia, Lithuania, San Marino, Slovenia, Switzerland have got to be...
San Marino.
Oh, San Marino. Switzerland are going to be the toughest, I think.
Oh yeah, I think this is Switzerland away, so this is going to be the toughest game of all.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen? Oh my lord! What a save!
Oh! To be fair, I think England are really going to struggle, and I reckon if they play like they did against Norway, I think they'll lose.
Yeah, we could have lost against Norway.
Yeah,
quite easily. What do you think's happened? I mean, obviously you've lost Gerrard, lost Lampard, lost Terry, like really strong, experienced heads in the squad. But you know, and people thought, oh, the answer is with the kids. Oh my word, what a ball! Sturridge has got it. Oh,
but at the end of the day, yes, we've lost experience, but it's not as though the only way to win an international match is through having lots of experience.
Yeah, I mean, look at Belgium in the World Cup.
Precisely.
Perfect example of a squad built on youth and passion. Hello, Charlie. It's Phil Jones. Oh. And they did all right in the World Cup.
Absolutely.
We're a team full of Premier League professionals and didn't win a game. So
I think for me the biggest thing, I mean, I for one don't mind England losing. I really don't. And I don't even mind England playing badly. What annoys me about England is the fact that they play badly for England, but they don't play badly for their clubs.
Yeah.
If they were just bad players, totally accept it. If they just weren't very good players, I could get that. That's absolutely fine. You work with what you've got. That's fine.
Yeah.
But these aren't bad players at all.
But you look at the team that Hodgson might pick. So you've got players like Cahill, Hart. Who Hart is probably England's best player now.
Yeah.
If you look at the week in, week out performances in terms of the stuff he's done for England, he's the one who constantly performs every time. I can't think of another player who.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's made mistakes.
Yeah, but he's a goalkeeper. I think
he's the most consistent that we've got.
Yeah, he's the first player you put down in the squad every time. When you're filling in your England squad, Hart's the first name you always put in.
Yeah.
And then obviously Rooney's got a bit more of a new role. And then, I mean, the defence kind of picks itself. It's the midfield that's the strange conundrum these days, because you're filling that. Oh my God!
Oh, blimey! Hits the post. Sorry, I was keeping myself quiet there as I prepared a nice little attack.
Because you're filling that Gerrard hole, and the thing is, if you're England manager, you want to play to the strengths of the players. So you're thinking about how key players like Henderson and Sturridge and Sterling play. So you kind of want to play in that. You kind of want to get them in a system that they're used to, don't you?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I don't know, but there's no one really. You know.
But the problem I have is I think you look at the way that, as you say, you want to play these players, and these are probably England's most talented players, the likes of Sturridge and Sterling and Rooney. They are probably the most talented players, naturally talented. So you want to play them in the best positions. And say, if you take those three, I think probably their best positions, Sturridge, obviously a centre-forward.
Yeah.
Rooney, I would probably say centre-forward, because that's where he wants to play, and so he's a very kind of psychological player in the fact that he has to be looked after. And then so you've got Sterling. So Sterling, I think, works best behind the front two.
Yeah.
So to play those three players in those positions leaves your midfield quite weak. So you need a more defensive-minded midfielder, which England don't have.
No.
And it's quite strange that most countries have this type of player, except for England. We have lots of central midfielders.
Yes.
But none kind of defensively minded. They all kind of like to get forward.
And lots of attacking-minded midfielders, and you know, the problem is you look at the big four teams now in the league, and the likes of Fernandinho, Company, Matic, sort of Arteta. They're the players who are playing that role so crucially for their clubs. There's not really an English player who's go on. Got to finish it. No. Oh,
great defending there.
Lovely scrappy goal mouth play from England. It's
it's like you're watching the real match.
Obviously, as well as with the Premier League preview, the Euro 2016 preview will be. The captain will be trying to predict exactly what happens in the game. Rooney's going to take a late. See, that's typical England, that scoring just before the half.
And scrappy.
And very, very scrappy, tight box play.
Off a goalkeeping error.
Yeah. No creativity, just
No, not at all.
the right person in the right place at the right time. Talking about predictions, we previously mentioned there's been 3 previous Premier League shows. All our predictions were wrong. We'll talk a bit about the Premier League in the second half. But what do you think England's chances are, realistically now, for this game?
For this game?
Yeah.
I mean, I think a ball draw. That's what I reckon.
Do you think that's what? Do you think at half time, if it's 0-0, Hodgson will just shut the door, or if it's 1-0 like this?
I don't think he'll shut the door necessarily, but I don't think he's also going to really chase after and get more goals. That's not. He's a pragmatist. He's not going to try and go for a 3-0 win when one will do.
Yeah,
and that's just kind of how he's always been as England coach. So I can't see that changing now, especially in the opening game of the qualifiers. A win is all that matters, and this being as we just said, the toughest game.
Yeah, definitely the most important. I think England are going to struggle, and I can see a 1-1 draw. I think England will take the lead, and I think they'll struggle to put another goal behind that, and I think that we'll play the way that we play most group matches, which is get what we want, kind of, get the draws and then win against San Marino, win against Slovenia, do all that kind of stuff.
I mean, this whole system of the groups now for this Euros, it's a bit, when you look actually what it would take for England to not go through, it's a bit ridiculous. England would have to finish either in the top 2 of an exceedingly weak group, or just as we get back underway, or they become one of the, I think it's the best 4 third-place teams also go through.
Yeah, I know. It's
so
kind of...
it will take a lot for England not to go through, to go to the European Championship. If they don't get in, then the problems we all know are there are much worse than we all thought.
Yeah, I don't think there's an issue of not qualifying. I just think that it'll be... I don't think it's going to set the world alight like... Was it the Euros where we qualified, we won every single game?
I'm not sure. I mean, that was probably under either Ericsson or Capello, who were both very good at qualifying.
Yeah. Not
very good at the actual tournaments, but in terms of qualifying, they were very good.
Yeah. All right, then. So it's kind of not been a 3-week break, but it kind of has, because you were away on your holidays, so we kind of... set up the Premier League previews. We pre-recorded them before we knew what any of the results were going to be in the previous matches. So this is the first chance we've had to kind of speak about the first 3 weeks that were in the Premier League. We got all our predictions. Oh!
I'd just like to say, I mean, fortunately, I have the ability of video behind me, but from my side, I am lagging a tiny little bit, so I'm blaming that on that goal and nothing else.
Well, I'm sure the Swiss press will use the same excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
2-0 to England. Rooney again scoring with his head. So let's have a look at the 3 weeks that were. The first game that we played was Man United versus Swansea City. We had Man United coming out of winning. As we now know, Swansea City won that match.
And in my defence, I was Swansea, and I did score twice.
You did, so that was
so I was right. It was just you that messed up, Sam. You scored 2 goals too many.
I did.
You were too good.
In the second match, we had a surprise win for Leicester City. However, Chelsea let us down again by putting 2 past Leicester without any response. So that was another prediction wrong. And then Tottenham against Liverpool, and once again, Liverpool went to White Hart Lane and absolutely just put 3 goals past Tottenham.
But so once again, I kept a clean sheet.
Yes, so you were right.
So again, I'm doing very well at the preview. You were awful.
Yes. So this doesn't bode well for England. So the first 3 weeks of the Premier League, are you surprised? I mean, Chelsea, Swansea City, you've got 100% records. Man City are up there. Arsenal, Man United probably starting exactly how you would expect it.
You seem to have skipped third place there, Sam.
Oh yeah. Who's in third place?
In third place is the mighty Aston Villa.
Fantastic. Best start to a season?
It's similar. The best start in like about 8 years or something like that. It's a bit silly. I'm very aware, however, that we've not played any top teams, and our next 5 games are against the top 5 of last season.
Yeah.
So it's good. We desperately needed to get some points on the board at this early stage, because it's unlikely that we will get any points in the next 5 games. So that would have left us in a bad position.
But it's a good start, though. That's kind of the start you need in the Premier League. There's nothing worse than, say, doing what Man United have done, not won a game, and played the likes of Swansea City and Burnley and only got 1 point out of that, and Sunderland, really. So obviously Man United have tried to change that. They've spent heavily in the transfer window. The fact of the transfer window that I like the most is that Burnley, in their history, their entire history, have not spent as much as Man United did on Di Maria, which was £59.7 million. Di Maria, Rojo, and Blind, and of course Falcao. Are they going to really turn Man United season around?
I think they are. I mean, I think I think when it comes to doing well in the league, there are 2 things. One is defence. Unfortunately, they haven't fixed that. However, as Liverpool showed last season, if your defence isn't good, you can just get by with playing a game of I'll score more than you will. Yeah. And I think getting in Falcao, who, if stats are to be believed, and those are fairly substantial stats, he's a bit of a goal machine.
Yeah.
Everywhere he's gone, and he's played for top clubs in good divisions. I mean, you look at when he played for Atletico Madrid in La Liga, he scores goals. That's just what he does. From any kind of goal, from any angle, that's what he does. And so far, Man United have both had a bad defence and have been poor up front.
Yeah. The thing that worries me about Falcao is obviously he's 28. He's on loan, but that seems to me like that's a kind of a fair play deal, because they've obviously spent a lot, so they're trying to avoid a bit of the fair play, FIFA fair play rules kicking in. What they really didn't need was another. You'd rather spend that kind of money in getting in a decent defender, because you don't know whether he's aging a bit, and Madrid knew that, so that's why they let him go. He's only just kind of come back from injury. Yeah,
that would be my biggest concern. The injury. It's a serious injury as well.
Yeah. He could just do a Torres, couldn't he? Really, be all that money, and and also of course Di Maria hasn't quite fitted in yet, but he's only played 1 game, so it'd be quite unfair to do that. Any other signings really take your eye?
There's a few here and there. I mean,
Danny Welbeck to Arsenal.
I've never been a huge fan of Danny Welbeck, and so I'm really interested to see how he does kind of at a club where he's going to play as a striker, because he's never done that really. He's always played as a winger almost, and it's obvious that he's not his best, but his best position would be a centre forward. So I'm really interested to see that, because he does have the technique to be able to play in the Arsenal system, and so I don't quite know. I've always kind of thought of him as a slightly more skillful Emil Heskey, who Emil Heskey was always known as being a player that players love playing with, because he did a lot for the team. He never seemingly did much himself, but all the players would say, no, he's great to play with, he does so much for me, and players around him always tended to score more. He never did, but other players did.
Even his stats for England are quite testament to his ability to set up goals.
Exactly. So I mean, I've always thought of
Sturridge gets 1. 3-0 England. Very excited about that. I think Hodgson would have made some changes by now, but I'm just going to keep it as it is, really. Welbeck's gone there. I mean, I think Welbeck's a great player. I just think he's been played out of position quite a lot. I think that Balotelli to Liverpool is quite interesting. He didn't really spark in his first match.
No, he really didn't. But it's okay, because his next match is against Villa, so he's bound to burst into life.
He's really come into his own on that match, Oh, hello. Hello, darling. Come on. And Cleverley to Villa. Does that excite you?
Well, the problem with this one is purely the fact that through the whole deadline day thing, he was on his way to Villa, then he wasn't. There were the fact that the Villa deal broke down because he wanted too much money, and then he was going to go to Everton, and then Everton broke down, and then he seemingly then came to Villa on loan. So it's a weird situation where, as a Villa fan, we know he doesn't really want to be at Villa.
Yeah.
And also, he kind of knows that Villa don't really want him because he was actually their second choice. They were actually after the Real Sociedad midfielder Sergio Canales as well. So it's a bit of a strange one. I'm willing to give him a shot because, yes, I grant you, Man United fans have been really very, very vocal about how much they dislike him. Oh, that's it. It's over.
It's over. So
they've been really, really vocal about how much they dislike him, and I don't really understand why. He seems to have got the brunt of the criticism for their struggles last year, where nobody in that team came out with any credit.
Yeah.
So it's a good move for him. If I didn't know the background of him not really wanting to go there, because I think a club like Villa, he can be a main attraction. He can be like a man who the team kind of relies on. And I think he would benefit from that.
Do you think he could be the defensive midfielder that England need in time?
I don't know enough of him because I don't think he's not actually. We think of him as being around quite a while. He's actually not played that much. He's played 50-odd games. I think 54 Premier League games, and he's not played that much for England either. So it's difficult to really know and see him in a proper good run of games to know where his best position would be, because he's not known as obviously he's not like a Lampard who the rampaging runs forward. He's known for his sideways passing and stuff like that, which often in England he's criticised for, and he quite rightly points out that in other countries it's not seen as sideways passing; it's seen as kind of retaining possession, which is the important thing. And I think that's what he does quite well. And looking at his stats last year, his kind of pass success rate was right up there. He's in like the top 20 in the league. So he is capable of that, and I think it's just this season will be important for him if he can get playing. Because he's not. I mean, obviously Villa are third in the league. It's not guaranteed that he goes straight into the team. If he can get playing and get some matches under his belt, then we'll have to wait and see. I hope so, because that is a position that England miss and don't have anyone in, and it would be great to have someone we could rely on to just break up the play and to get hold of the ball and keep it, because England are really terrible at keeping the ball.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see how it all plans out. England are going to beat Switzerland 3-0. I don't think that's going to really happen.
The thing is, though, if England play like they can do, like we have seen them,
but they never play like they can do.
I remember at the ending of kind of the World Cup qualifiers where they played Ukraine, and suddenly for some reason they came out and they just looked like they finally enjoyed their football.
Yeah.
And they were attacking, and suddenly it was like, hang on a minute, this is good football. This is exciting. And it was kind of like the leash had been let off. If that happens, England can play well, and I can see a 3-0 win. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll play safe, and they'll just play for a 1-0 win and probably get a 1-1 draw.
Well, we'll see what happens. Join us next time when we'll be back to the Premier League preview. We'll be previewing the tastiest fixture, probably the season so far, when Arsenal take on Man City. Man City will be hoping to bounce back from a 1-0 loss at home to Stoke City, which is very unlike them. So join us back for that. Remember to subscribe on YouTube, leave us a comment or review, and hopefully we'll have the squads correct for next time as well. So join us then. You can find me on Twitter. My handle is at Mr. Sam Turner. Dan, what's yours?
Mine is at FrostyD. That's Frosty with an IE and then DEE.
So good luck to England. And this has been the Euro 2016 preview, brought to you by the FIFA Premier League preview.